Hi guys, so you're going out, maybe you just want a snack for home. How about some appetizers? Well, today that's what we're making. Italian style appetizers. These are real quick, real simple to make. You're going to love them. Let's get our stuff together and I'll show you. We're going to be making two different kinds. We need a roll of puff pastry. Now the original recipe called for two. We're halving the recipe, so we're just going to use one roll for now. You need some pasta sauce or tomato sauce. If you're using tomato sauce, that's what the oregano's for. About a half a cup-ish of mozzarella. And the other set of appetizers is going to be Havarti cheese slices, some thin sliced salami, some sesame seeds for the top. We're also supposed to have poppy seeds for the other appetizers, but I didn't have any, so we'll manage with this. Plus an egg for an egg wash. Let's get started. We got to roll out our puff pastry. And like I said, this is going to be a half recipe. So you wouldn't do this. This would be one whole appetizer. We'll do both of them side by side. Now, the only thing is, if you don't keep your pastry cold, it becomes harder and harder to work with. And you can see I'm kind of struggling a little bit to get it off the wax paper because I know how this works. If you don't do it now, once it's all full of stuff, you're going to have a harder time with it. So do yourself a favor and kind of at least get it off the wax paper to begin with. Well, they're kind of held together all right. First appetizer. This is a pizza style one, and we'll lay out the sauce on half. And like I said, if you're using tomato sauce, put some of that oregano on. The pizza sauce I've got already has oregano, so that's why we're not doing it. And then you take your mozzarella cheese and just give it a good sprinkle on top. And then we're just going to fold this half over like that. And hopefully kind of mush it down a little bit. And you can see that by mushing it down, puff pastry is kind of sticky a little bit. So you really got to be careful with that. I suppose if you wanted to, once it's laid out, you could go throw it back in the fridge to cool it back up again. So I moved it to the middle of the wax paper, and of course some of the guts came out. Now we filled her back in. Second side, that is thin Havarti slices. I was figuring I was using the whole pack until I decided to make a half batch. So you can see I only used 3 slices of Havarti. Now you do need to kind of make sure you got a little bit of playroom at the very edges. And overlapping's fine, not the end of the world. There you go. Next up comes our salami, thin sliced salami. Go to the deli counter. It cost me under $1 to get all the salami I needed, and yet a pack was going to be $3 or $4. We do the same thing as the first ones. We fold it over, pinch it together. Okay, now what we're going to do is with our baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Parchment paper is not wax paper, remember that. I've learned the hard way. We're going to both on our baking sheet ever so carefully and get that wax paper off. First one's done, second one's done. I think we got it. Okay, so here is our appetizers. We've got my pizza cutter, and we're going to cut them into bite-sized pieces ever so carefully. Now I only made 12, and if you wanted to make smaller ones, because they do puff up a bit, you could have cut them a little thinner and gotten more pieces. Personal preference. And what we're going to end up doing is the sesame seeds are going to go on one set of these. But I'm having a bit of a problem cutting it to the edge. It's the pan, it's not my pizza cutter. And I can tell it's not quite cutting all the way through. So we'll have to fix that. Unfortunately, I had to get a knife just to cut the little pieces at the very end, just to make sure that we could pull them apart. Now we need an egg wash, so that's going on. Both of our appetizers. Why? Because it's going to brown them up, of course. Well, we're going to put our sesame seeds on this one, so that way we know that that's the pizza appetizer. So then back to our salami, and we're just going to cover the top with our egg wash. Let it brown up, nice and beautiful, but if we had poppy seeds, they'd go on that one. In the oven, this is going to go 350, around 20 minutes, 20 to 22 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You'll know when they're done. They'll look nice and brown. While they're baking, we need to make us a cheese dipping sauce. This is a beer cheese sauce. Kind of cool. And if you don't really want the beer part, just use milk or even water. We take our 2 tablespoons of butter and let it melt down. Yummy. We're putting in 2 tablespoons of flour. We're going to mix this about a minute or two. And you can see how it's starting to turn really light brown. I'm getting it off the stove until I can get my beer ready. That is 1 cup of foamy beer, which if you're actually measuring, it's about 7 ounces, 200 milliliters. Mix that all around. We got to put a little bit of salt in, half teaspoon. Just remember to keep stirring. Now we've got to bring it up to a boil. Just starting to boil. Doesn't have to be like a rapid boil. Take it off. Okay, over to the counter. And now we're going to put our cheese in. It's about, well, I didn't really measure it because I like cheese, right? So it's about 2 good handfuls. Probably 3/4 cup of cheese. You can do it to whatever you like, really. This was a lot of dipping sauce too, by the way. And if you want an extra kick, that's a half a teaspoon-ish of red pepper flakes. Yummy, just to give it a little bit of kick. And if you like beer cheese soup, you're going to like this because it's pretty well the same. So here's our appetizers on a plate. Little dipping cheese sauce to go with it. Let's give her a try. This is our pizza one. A little bit of cheese sauce. Oh yeah. That worked really well. I gotta have a second dip. Yummy. These are damn good. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.